Hello everyone, today we're having a look at Unmatched Bruce Lee. This is an expansion set, and you'll know this because it says it's only one miniature and for use with full game set. That means that this only comes with Bruce Lee himself. It comes with his card deck, as well as his actual power card, his health dial and miniature. There is no board included in this set, and let's pop the lid off. So let's leave that off to one side. We have a look straight away. So we have Mr. Bruce Lee as the miniature. I think this is a really nicely done. It looks like it's sort of had some kind of a wash done to it. It's really helping those muscles pop and all the wrinkles in the trousers. Really, really impressive looking miniature here. And if you notice, this is actually quite a sparkly base, a bit like Deadpool. Deadpool has this sparkly base. Very nice there. We have the health dial. Now he does start on 14 health, and look at, I love the actual dragon there, and just a 0. So unlike Deadpool, where it says something funny, should we say, it's just a standard health dial there. And then we have his deck. Let's move that out the way. So, Bruce Lee moves 3. He is melee, starting health of 14, as I said, on the health dial there. And at the end of the turn, you may move Bruce Lee 1 space. So he doesn't mind ending up basically within a range of a combat. That dragon that's on the dial, that returns on the back of the card art. Obviously, they're all the same. Now, the interesting thing about the deck here, and I have had a bit of a look through it and it is shuffled. Now, this is kind of one of 6 of his special style cards. The Kit Kundu, effectively. Now, there is a number of other ones, like here. These are going to be your very powerful things, and they will also boost and do other things based on other cards. A lot of them have very powerful things, like this one, draw a card and gain an action after combat. It's not a bad value. He's got a few of these, and this Be Like Water is one way that these cards, these Kit Kundu cards, are used. So after combat, you can actually take one from your discard pile and add it to your hand. So you can use, and there's 4 of these, a really good way of getting them back into your hand. He's got a few of the standard ones, so a skirmish. He's got 3 of those. Feints, so he's cancelling the abilities on the other person's card. That's kind of normal, but just having a look at the card art. Flicking through, this is the downward side kick. So that actually means the opponent discards a card, and again, you gain an action. This is one of my favourite cards in the deck. It sounds like it could be absolutely brutal. The 1-inch punch. You deal 2 damage to an adjacent fighter, and if that fighter dies, well, you return this card to your hand. That, as a scheme, that's unstoppable. 2 damage. If you're against Medusa, this could potentially help you take out multiple harpies on a turn, and it still be in your hand. This is then, and again, another one of them, but this is the Corkscrew Finger Jab. You're actually dealing 1 damage to the opposing fighter after combat, again, gaining an action, so that's potentially 4 damage, and then you're having another action. Be Like Water, so one of those to get it back into your hand. The normal feint. He's got 3 of the momentous shifts, which is this is 5 instead of 3 if he's been moved. Little Dragon, so this is one of his other unique ones. If your hand is empty, the value of this card is 6. It's 6 instead of 2 as well. And you'll then draw cards, so you won't be necessarily empty in your hand for long. There's another one of them. Another Be Like Water. Now this is quite a cool one. Nunchuck. So here, all of Bruce Lee's attacks this turn are +1 value. And you gain an action. So using this scheme card, it's completely free effectively, allowing you then to use loads of your big attacks. That then maybe getting you more actions. The skirmish again, so you can then move up to 2 after the fight. Regrouping is as standard, but quite cool artwork where he's just sort of, sucking in the energy from around him. He's got 3 of those. Another momentous shift, a couple of those. Taste of blood, so he's only got 1 of these after combat. If he has 5 or less health, draw 3 cards. A great way to get some more cards into your hand when you're low. You've lost, 14? So you'd have lost 9 health to get to that stage. Bring it on. You're actually moving an opponent towards you. Kind of feels a little bit like one of Merlin's powers from the King Arthur sidekick. Moving your opponent around, that could be quite helpful. Again, gaining an action, so it doesn't really cost you much. Here's another one of the Kindu's short lead hook. Now this is quite a cool one. You actually swap spaces with the opposing fighter after combat, gaining an action. So that's another one where you're manipulating where you are on the board and potentially your opponent too. And then here, a high straight lead. Now, if either fighter started this in a different space, it's 5. So a little bit like the standard cards where it's increasing 3 to 5, but in this case, either fighter, and then you're gaining an action. So there was that, the chance where you could manipulate where someone is. This would then do more damage. And then here we go, you can add one of those Jet Kindu cards back from your discard pile into your hand, and it's basically free because it's gaining an action. Another one, Intercepting Fist, cancelling the effects and gaining an action. So many of these gaining actions. We're back to the second nunchuck. Be Like Water, and I think that is almost all of the special cards. Note here, we've got Wrist Lock, draw a card, gain an action, and I think that's pretty much the whole deck as we're back to the top. That was near the top. So a really cool deck, really excited to use this one, and that is Mr. Bruce Lee for Unmatched.